something you can't fix.
If you can't fix what's broken, you'll go insane.
It's Jay and Adam. It's Preview.
It's Preview's Fix It with Adam and Jay.
Hey, pages! Welcome to Fix It, where friends don't let friends fix pop culture alone.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Jay, and you're our listener.
Well, hi, listeners.
Hey, listeners, how's everything out there in Vlistland?
Vlistland?
Yes, it's the wonderful utopia we've started for all of our listeners. Vlistland.
Ooh, Vlistland Saga.
It sounds pretty good, right?
It does sound pretty good.
It's very Sanderson-esque, I think.
It does.
Yeah, we can create our own magic system, and yeah, man.
Absolutely.
I can't imagine how many books we're going to be cranking out, not as much as him. But
27.
Here's the thing. I've never read a single one of his books, but I subscribe to his channel just because I'm fascinated by him. Like, when he came out with that video, it was like, I wrote all these books. I'm like, how, dude? Like, actually, how? Like, there's got to be, like, I want like an in-depth interview with him with like a psychiatrist and be like, what? How and you maintain all of your relationships?
You write how many words a day?
Like, what's when someone is like too productive, you just like mentally are just like, but what's burning? You know what I mean? Like, because it's like, oh, you're creating this wonderful fancy meal, but like the croquettes didn't make it on the plate, right? Like those got toasted too long.
No, they're perfect.
I don't know.
Sanderson.
Welcome to our show, Fix It. You may know Adam and I from our super statured, the absolute giant of YouTube, Previewed, where we react, review, riff, and all sorts of nerd content on the internet. You may know us from there. You also may know us from your handy dandy of Mr. Fix It. Yeah, that's right. I do fix it work on the side. I'm a maintenance person.
I would not have thought that.
Yeah, if something's broke, I'll fix it for you.
No, that's nice.
You may know us from there. But this is our show, Fix It. If it's your first time listening, or it's your first time listening. Every week, Adam and I take a piece of pop culture that maybe missed the mark, maybe didn't quite get there, maybe just didn't get big enough to clear the landing, and we fix it. And today here on Fix It, we are going to be fixing 2017. What year did this come out?
I'm gonna check it real quick.
Brian, what year did this movie come out?
No, I can find it. Oh, he edited it all.
Thank you, gentlemen. Producer Brian here. Ant-Man and the Wasp came out in 2018. July 6th, to be exact, and that's in the U.S. Anyway, back to you, gentlemen.
We're fixing Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Oh, 2018.
From 2018's. Well, let's take that cut right now. This week, we are fixing 2018's Ant-Man and the Wasp.
This movie came out between Infinity War and Endgame, which I had forgotten.
I completely forgotten about it too, because at the when we got to the
mid-credit
scene, I went, wait, so when does it? How does the what?
Oh,
but looking at the grand scope of things, it's actually like a good movie to come out in between the two of them, because it sets up the actions of the second movie pretty effectively.
Oh, sure.
But also, if anything, I forgot how much of a delightful tone change it was. For basically it was like, well, the last movie we all had to watch Spider-Man get dusted.
He didn't feel so good, and we all left the theater weeping.
Yeah, and it was like, hey, you want to watch Paul Rudd just be goofy for an entire movie? Yes, I do.
Yeah. And we totally forgot about the sad show that we watched a couple months ago, and then was really reminded, Oh, yeah. Oh, no. He's trapped in a quantum... Oh, no. Is that going to help? Oh, no. I'm sad again.
Yeah,
man.
I would go. They're like, you have to like keep your mind together when you're in the quantum realm. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. No, I'm going crazy immediately.
I'm taking my helmet off immediately.
Woo woo! Get those particles in me. Yum yum. Woo! I'm gonna be a super villain.
Yes, you are.
But one you kind of like, you know, you're kind of like, I don't appreciate what he's trying to accomplish, but damn, he's compelling.
Yeah, I would say. Would you even have a point? But I don't think you would. You'd just be nice about it.
Nah. Yeah. Absolutely. I will say, we are fixing Ant-Man and the Wasp today, and I did a watch along on the Discord with all of the previewed peaches. Actually, really good turnout. It was really fun.
Yeah.
But if every Wednesday night at 8 p.m., if you want to come watch along whatever we're fixing with me on the previewed Discord, check out the link to the Discord's in the description. Check it out. It's the best community on the internet. We'd love to have you join us there. I'll be damned if I didn't have a fun time.
This is a fun movie, Jay.
It's a fun movie.
This is one of the times where this movie only missed by a little bit.
Only by a little bit. I feel like our fixes today are going to be very reminiscent of Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah, which was also a fine film. It just needed some zhuzhing.
I do a lot of my fix it thinking in the shower.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, because she was like, "You took a long shower." I was like, "Yeah, I just like really need to fix. I needed to fix this movie." She went, "Oh, okay." She's like, "I'm glad we don't pay for water." I'm like, "Me too."
One of the advantages of living in an apartment.
That is true. But yeah, it's the kind of thing where I was like, I wanted to fix so much of it, and it eventually got to a point where, like, after watching it, I was like, there's really not much. There's only like a couple of missed opportunities here that like really are unfortunate.
Yeah.
That need to be like kind of clipped a little bit. But in remembering seeing this movie, I was like, I didn't really like that one as much. But I watched it back. I was like, no, this is a hoot.
It's fun.
I will forgive a superhero movie a lot of things and this movie accomplishes that, if the movie has a firm understanding of what their main character is about and what's fun about watching like them as superheroes.
Oh yeah.
And like all of the shrinking and growing and stuff in this movie was a badass.
It was very well done.
Yeah.
It was and smart and clever and different than the first one.
Yeah.
But same technology from the first one, just utilized differently.
Yeah.
No, utilized competently. Because Hope is actually extremely good at this.
And it's very effective because if you're going to have a superhero that's kind of bad at his job, everyone's like, oh, there's just going to be Ant-Man and the Wasp movies now. I'm like, yeah, you kind of need the Wasp to show up and be good at it to realize like this is a badass power set.
Yes.
Like when she takes out those dudes in that kitchen and she's running along the knife, I forgot how that sequence it's real good.
It's very good.
It's incredible. And it's like, oh yeah, if they really know what they're doing, this is, yeah, okay.
She has been training her entire life for this. That's why she got the wings and the stingers there, Scott.
Yeah. Think I'm going to give you guns? Absolutely not.
No. You're lucky you got the ants.
But before we delve deeper into this film, Adam, how are you doing, bud?
Jay, I'm okay. It has been a little bit of a week.
Yeah, it's been a little crazy.
We got great. Vox Machina just finished. Cool. Like, this is the beginning of the week, right? We just finished last week's Vox Machina. Great. Okay. Last of Us. Good episode. Light on mushrooms. More on the terror of normal people.
Yeah.
Great. Oh.
I prefer mushrooms personally, but I know you wouldn't.
I prefer, I guess, normal people as being the bad guys, I guess. If I have to choose between shrooms and people, I'll pick people this time.
Yeah.
But when we set up our schedule for the week, I was like, all right, we got this down. Last of Us, Tuesday, we can kind of take a break for a second. We got a Bad Batch on Wednesday, and then Vox Machina Thursday night, and then we'll do a podcast today. And then all right, and the Super Bowl Sunday. Okay, great. Perfect. We got this week. We totally got it. No problem. And then as right before we started doing Last of Us on Monday, I was like, hey, guess what, guys? Because of the Super Bowl, the next episode of Last of Us is going to be on Friday. Okay. That's fine.
Today.
That's fine.
As we're recording this.
Okay. So we just got to amend the schedule a little bit. That's fine. I can still do the Vox Machina.
In a way that makes it easier, he's kind of...
Oh, sure. But then we found, oh, yeah, there's going to be 2 bad batches on Wednesday. Okay. That's
fine.
Okay,
It fills a day we didn't normally have filled.
I can do that on Thursday. Okay, I can record in the morning, and then we'll edit, and then we'll come back at night and do the Vox Machina. Okay, great. And then it's like, oh, right, and the Super Bowl is like, oh, yeah, there's going to be a bunch of trailers. Right, okay, so Trailer Palooza, Monday. Okay, we got this. And then everything just started kind of piling in, and all of a sudden there's piling in. It was like, okay, no, Jack, I got this. And it makes you like, hey, bud. Hey, bud, that plan sounds good, but, like, I don't think it's going to come to that. I feel like something else is going to happen, and you're going to need just a little bit of help. Let's call Grace.
Yeah, I just was like, because you were like, oh, well, do you think she could do it? I'm like, I've already texted her. I'm waiting to hear back. Like, I was the kind of thing where I was like, hey, do you think that'd be good? I had already sent that text. I'd already been like, hey, we're going to need some help. And you were like, oh, do you think? And I was like, yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to make sure that you'd be cool with me off. But I was like, no, I already texted her. No, but also my favorite thing about finding out about all these extra episodes was I'm actively making the schedule for all of the social media posts as we're finding this out. So I've made a schedule and I'm like, cool, I'm about to post everything. And you're like, wait a minute.
There's
2 bad batches. And I went, beans. All right, let me rebuild this little part. I can make great. Okay, great. Awesome. Hey, Last of Us is coming out on Friday. Beans. Beans. So I go back and fix it again, and then I had to I'd already posted it in certain places, so I had to take it down and then repost it. And it was just so much.
Thanks, Rihanna concert.
Appreciate your Rihanna concert.
It's gonna be a fun 20 minutes. I don't know about what the bookend of that is gonna be like, but that Rihanna concert's probably gonna be pretty good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have dogs in these fights, considering it's my team, the Kansas City Chiefs, and Kimberly's family's team, the Philadelphia Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
So
I will be rooting for the Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly.
Are you serious?
Mm-hmm. I have family from Philadelphia, and it's also the NFC East, which is from what Washington is a part of. So go home conference, I guess.
Huh.
The Washington Commodores.
Guardians? They're the Guardians, right?
Commander
Champions? Or
I don't know what it is.
Commanders? I think it's Commanders.
I think it's Commanders. It's a bad name.
Yeah, they really just botched it.
Redskins, also bad. They shouldn't
Terrible.
have had it.
Shouldn't have never have had that name.
But Commanders, also bad.
Just pick a creature.
For a different reason.
Just be like,
but it's a bad
be the
name.
Dragons. There's no dragons. That's cool too.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
There's plenty of things you could be from DC.
There's plenty of things you can be.
Yeah. The Commanders is bad. It's a bad football name. Because what is a commander, Jay? From like a mascot standpoint.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's stupid is what it is.
Yeah. At least Kansas has they have a theme at least to their naming conventions. Because Chiefs is kind of like, I don't know about that. It's like, yeah, well, they're royalty technically. And we have the Royals and we have the Kings and we have, the Monarchs and we have.
I did not know that.
Oh, yeah. That's why
Oh.
Yeah. That's why they have if anything, them calling the team the Chiefs was that's how we pay homage to we're acknowledging them, so that's why they've kept the name. Yeah.
Oh.
But I didn't realize you were rooting for the Eagles. That's a bummer.
Yeah, fly Eagles fly.
Name one player.
Randall Cunningham.
I don't know enough to confirm or deny. But before we move out of this segment, we do have the podcast did get some fan mail.
Oh, that's right. This has been a long time in the making, and I think this is like the second time we're looking at this.
This was sent.
This got lost in the mail, I believe.
This was sent from our good buddy AP.
He's the guy that makes all the deep fakes for the thumbnails on YouTube.
I was
for
gonna
this.
Get there.
Well, I'm jumping in as you were looking.
He is an amazing previewed peach. He is one of the shining stars of our Discord, and we also hired. He did so many good deep fakes of us that we hired him to make all of our thumbnails for the podcast.
Yeah.
So this was sent from him. He said this is specifically for the studio.
All right, so we'll put it in the studio at some point.
Oh, it's
good. We opened it backwards. It was probably pretty good.
That's probably pretty good for the.
Oh, okay. It's all. Interestingly wrapped. Come here.
Okay.
All right, and
For those of you listening at home, AP, the loveliest of APs, has sent us a professionally painted or screen printed and framed picture of our very first episode of this podcast, Spider-Man 3.
that's just
With my face superimposed into Mary Jane.
to Mary Jane, yeah.
And Adam is Spider-Man. And that is
glorious, Jay.
that is pretty spectacular.
So some of these thumbnails like really, really work,
Yeah.
and this is one of them.
Well, I will say that our episode from last week, the thumbnail for Fantastic Beasts, me as Tina, like really, I was like, I can't stop looking at it, but
I know
that's not a good thing.
It was because I mean, my face fits well on Eddie Redmayne's.
Yes.
So like I had to be him, but like yes, you as Tina and not as Jacob.
Yeah,
that
it
is
was,
that is very good.
Chef's kiss. It really, I really appreciate. AP does such incredible work with the deep fakes, and it really, one thing I love about it is that one thing that's tough when you're making something like a podcast, it's tough because trying to find like a voice in the visual medium can be very difficult, and I feel like those thumbnails really set us apart. And well,
I can't wait to hang this up in the studio, Jay.
Yeah.
That is
I'll bring this over when we tape Last of
Excellent.
Us tonight.
that is just glorious.
Yeah,
Thanks, AP.
yeah, appreciate you.
Okay, it's time to move into Ant-Man and the Wasp proper.
This is our job, man. Isn't that funny?
It is funny. I mean, I make a good Spider-Man too.
See, yeah, you're getting all the wrong stuff out of it. You're like, I look pretty good as Spider-Man.
I do look good as Spider-Man. Remember, I wore the Spider-Man outfit when we played the Resident Evil 8.
I know,
DLC.
I know.
Before we get into the episode or the movie proper, we got to start our new segment.
Yeah.
We're calling the plot drop. All right, this week's plot drop is coming from Jay. So Jay, in succinctly as possible, under 2 minutes, what's the plot of Ant-Man and the Wasp?
Ant-Man and the Wasp starts with Ant-Man, who is under house arrest after all of the issues with the Sokovia Accords and going to work with Captain America, which is why he was not in the movie before it, Endgame. Or no, Infinity War.
Right.
And so it opens on him in lockdown. He's only got a couple of days before he's getting set free. He has a vision about Janet Van Dyne. And I'm saying that right?
Yeah, it's Janet,
okay.
yeah.
He has a vision about Janet, who is the first Wasp, and from the quantum realm, and calls Hank Pym about it. Hank Pym and the Wasp come and get him out of house arrest and put the ankle monitor on a giant ant, which is hilarious because it turns out it wasn't just like a weird dream. He had been getting visions from the quantum realm from Janet, and they were going to find her in the quantum realm through that connection. They just needed one part for their device. They go to buy it. Stuff goes sideways. We figure out that there is a group of gangsters that are trying to steal their work for reasons.
Like tech bandits.
Tech bandits. Yeah, it's
of.
not really that well explained.
It's not.
But, okay, so they need to get get the final piece and get everything set up. While they are doing that, they are attacked by a character named Ghost, who we come to find out is someone who is affected by similar quantum realm experiments, who was quote-unquote abandoned by Hank Pym in their moment of need or whatever. And they figure out that if they also get Janet, Janet might have enough of the quantum juice, whatever, to heal her. So both of these gangsters and ghosts are getting in their way of trying to do the thing. The feds get involved. There's shrinking cars and shrinking buildings,
Which is cool.
that's really cool. We get Scott's old thief buddies, but they are now working for a security firm and trying to get off the ground with that. And basically there are a lot of shenanigans to get to a point where Hank goes into the quantum realm, finds Janet. Janet comes back, who inevitably does heal ghosts, so they weren't incorrect.
They were not incorrect.
And then then they deal with the feds, they deal with the gangsters, and then the day is saved.
Huzzah!
That's it. That's Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yes, it's a good movie. It's just a little clumsy in the Walter Goggins area.
Walter Goggins?
Walter Goggins.
That's who you've been saying.
Yes, Goggins. Not
Yeah.
Coogan's. Coogan's is the name of the restaurant down here that I got.
Yeah. That you got what? Food poisoning yet?
No, they got closed. That closed during the pandemic.
Oh yeah, where we had our 10,000 subscriber celebration.
We
there.
did, yeah.
And there's a funny video of me me forcing Adam
right.
to take a whiskey shot, and it was like trying to pill a cat.
Wasn't pretty.
It was not pretty.
It
but
did not go down smooth.
We had fun.
You had fun.
Yeah. I think it was just that like Goggins was having was on a little bit of a hot streak at that point.
Sure.
Because he had been in a lot of like really successful shows.
Yeah.
And honestly, what was the Vice Principals?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever watch
HBO.
that show?
I did not.
Bro, that show was funny.
Really?
And completely insane.
Okay.
Yeah, he was
Well,
great
maybe
on
we can
that
check it
show.
out.
It's like did you like Eastbound and Down?
I didn't watch it. I didn't really watch it that much.
Similar vibe.
Oh, okay.
Similar vibe.
So just pure insanity.
So I think they kind of just wanted to include him, and they figured out a way to do it.
Sure.
That's really honest to God what it feels like.
Like he didn't do a bad job with this movie.
He's great.
Yeah.
But it's more that like watching it now, I'm like, this really has no connection to anything at all.
Yeah, that's the problem.
But like, I guess back then it didn't feel as much because we were like, oh yeah, Goggins is here. This is awesome. Like that's
Kind of?
fun.
I don't know. That whole the main thrust of this movie of trying to get Janet out of the quantum realm is good.
Yes.
That part is perfectly fine. That's great. Scott in lockdown. I just got 3 days left, guys. I just want to get off probation and hang out with my buddies and do our new business, and so I can see my daughter and out of my house. That stuff, all great. The chases, all the things happening around the stuff, all very clever, well done, well executed. Very things I've never seen before, and cleverly use of a technology. But just like the bad guys chasing him and the reasons why they were chasing him, and Ghost showing up, who's like a bad guy who isn't a bad guy, and it was explained very poorly.
They just didn't give it enough time. They just didn't give it enough breath.
Yeah. So like the main thrust of what our main characters were trying to do and just get Janet, that stuff was great. But the obstacles they put in their way of getting Janet were not that great.
No.
And that just that brings the movie down a little bit.
And there was I feel like they gave a lot of fun set pieces to what's fun about Ant-Man, and that like the building shrinks, and they're just like the car chase about trying to get get the building back was pretty rad.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's really really fun. I will say the building having like a rolling like a suitcase roller.
Yeah.
Would drastically affect the structural integrity of that building.
Yes, it would.
Like,
Yes, it would.
for me, I'm going to be totally honest with you.
Sure.
I actually can buy that the building was getting tossed around, and I could buy that it was powered on like AA
The
batteries.
Yeah.
I can actually buy that.
Yeah.
That's actually really clever.
Clever. Yeah, it's very clever.
Would it have killed them at some point to be like, oh yeah, this is where the handles go.
Yeah.
You know, that's literally all
Just
I would.
some type of structural information of where the handle is.
Because when he did that for the first time, I was like, oh, funny, haha. No, wait, no,
Wait
no.
a second. Are those like going in elevator shafts? Where are they coming from?
Also, would it have killed them to be like, oh well, everything is bolted down because sometimes this building goes like this and rolls around on concrete.
It's
like
good, yeah.
I was like, so at some points I was like, how is this quantum tunnel not bashed into the tiniest of pieces?
Yeah, because it rolls.
Yes.
Where are the wheels when it gets big?
Because
where are
here's
the
thing,
wheels?
When you got like you're like walking, they're like walking like on the road, and it was like, you can kind of see it going. When you
wiggle,
like
wiggle,
we've
wiggle.
all had rolling suitcases, and
Yeah.
sometimes this is like, I'm like that would be like a category 3 earthquake to this building. How is it not falling apart? I don't understand.
Yeah.
And also, like, they would have had to have some porta-johns because, like, it's not hooked up to any plumbing of any kind. The electricity I can get behind.
Sure, that can be
like,
that can be a closed system.
But like in Pim's Lamp, they're pooping in buckets. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think we can all agree. Because they're doing some long nights there.
they are.
Just saying.
Well, maybe they shrink it. Maybe they throw like a little disc at it.
Oh, like, yeah. Like when you find out in Harry Potter, it's like they didn't have bathrooms for so long because you just, like, poop in the corner and like, you know, obliviate it. I'm like, that's not. No. We didn't need to know that. Plumbing's good. Let's just make it haunted. Do something fun like that. You know what I'm saying? That's what they did with Moaning Myrtle and stuff. It's like, you know, you can just have normal plumbing and just have it be like, oh, that's what the Chamber of Secrets is.
That's what the Chamber. Yeah, exactly.
It's like, but people still need to poop.
Yeah, we
Okay?
do.
Anyways, what are we talking about? Pooping in buckets.
Yes, in Hank Pym's lab. Yeah, I'm kind of, well, I'm not surprised, but it would have also been fun knowing that the lab is mobile, that at some point, like, having people in the lab as it shrunk and have them, like, have the whole set, like, do, like, the Star Trek, like, oh, you know, they, like hold on to the seat and everything's, like, rumbling as the camera kind of stays still, but they're doing the movement, like, having that, like, oh, we're in the lab, but we're getting tossed, oh, no, all the ants are flying around, like, there would have been more money involved and stuff, but, like, they'll sell it a little bit.
Yeah.
That would have been fun.
Yeah.
You know, like a little Inception, like, oh no, all of a sudden, like, the lab's inverted and we're all, like, spinning around.
Pym particles are so fun in the Marvel Universe, and they're such a fun little, like, aspect of things. It just... Is it ever fully explained what they actually are?
Don't they change the distance between molecules? Like, you know, protons and neutrons and protons and neutrons?
Yes. Once again. Yes. But what does that mean?
It changes the space in between particles.
I understand. Yeah,
What does that mean?
No. Where do they come from?
Where do they go?
Where does he get them?
Oh. I'm just now realizing, for some of you,
Like,
this is purely just an audio format. You didn't see me make a stupid face and just move my arms through the air.
Yeah.
Yes. Let me try it again.
There we go. Yeah.
You can hear the arms move.
Yeah. Yeah. It's never. It's like, what are Storm's actual powers? What does she actually do?
What does she
Change
do?
the weather. I will die on that hill every day.
But how?
I want to sit down with all the heads at Marvel and be like, what changed? She's a mutant. What changed in her body that she could do that? And I guarantee you the answer is gonna be like, I don't know, man. And I'm like, cool.
How about you shut up, nerd?
Yeah, how about you get at it? It's like anytime anyone would ask Tolkien about the Eagles.
Oh, okay.
He'd be like, you just need to stop asking. Like, get out of here. Like, I'm not.
Go get the spray bottle.
Oh man, but yeah, I think these fixes today. We were just talking about this before we started recording. I feel like are going to be very similar to our fixes of Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yes.
Like in that, like there is the core here is a great flick.
Mm-hmm.
There's just a couple of things that just don't land.
Yes.
That I think we could totally eat and easily fix.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, the main problem with this movie is that Ghost's issue and working with Goliath, who is a friend of Hank's.
Which that's great.
Which is fine, but if they just asked for help, they would have received it.
Yeah.
Ultimately, that's how the fix happens in the end. Like, well, I'll help you. I mean, I gotta go get Janet, but I'll help. Just let me go get my wife. Like,
yeah.
Okay. But like that's
you don't need to send a shield formed murderer after me.
Yeah.
When it's like, look, you know that like you could have just sent a fruit basket and I would have been there in a millisecond.
Yeah, I know we didn't like each other for whatever reason, but like you could have just asked for help, and of course I would have helped because I'm Hank Pym. I'm not a
monster.
I'm not a monster.
I'm snarky as all get out, but I'm not a monster. Huh?
Yeah. That's the. I mean, but everything else, totally fun. Picking him up at the end off the ferry.
Yeah,
that was fun. Him passing out.
Passed out because he's too big.
The him changing size because the regulator is messed up. That's fun.
Yeah.
I think they should have done a little bit more with that of him being child size. That would have been fun.
I don't know. I'm gonna be honest with you. I hated all that. It spooked me.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, when he's wearing like the little hoodie, I was like,
Uh-oh.
I was like, I don't like it. It just, he didn't look like, he looked the way he would have
Sure.
if he had shrunk that size.
Yeah.
But it just kind of felt a little like Children of the Corn.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was like, well, the scampering just didn't sit right.
Uh-oh.
Oh, is that your whole movie?
It's Honey, I Partially Shrunk Scott. Just a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Not quite enough.
Look, if you're Ant-Man at one time or another, you're telling me you didn't shrink down to eat a big oatmeal cream pie?
What?
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Oh.
Remember when they find the giant oatmeal cream pie in the yard?
I have not seen that movie
Oh,
in
dude,
a very long time.
I will. That is the one thing about that movie that will stick with me forever.
Really?
Dude, it looks so fun to eat eat an oatmeal cream pie that's the size of a house.
Okay.
That looks awesome. They're like, they got all the cream and they're like, and it's like so big.
Okay.
You never thought about like, you feel like, I'm realizing where I'm going with this and it's not going to land right. But like sometimes like when I enjoy a food, I'm like, man, I wish I could be little and just like eat.
Just dive into this.
Just like eat like just big handfuls of it, you know?
Sure.
I'm sometimes maybe this more speaks about me than it does about you, quite frankly. Man, I was like, I'm not sure I have a healthy relationship with food. But yeah, this looks so good.
Sure. I mean, I remember the part where he fell into the Cheerios and was like, "Dad, don't eat me." Yeah, that was like,
see that? I think that's Lashy.
no.
The fact that that's what you remember, and I remember them gleefully eating just like huge handfuls of oatmeal cream pie, speaks volumes to both of our relationships with food. Oh, okay. We got to know more about this movie.
That's right. We should.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's been quite a while since we've heard from our lovely Brian. Brian, why don't you tell us a little bit more about Ant-Man while you roll that beautiful bean fun fact footage?
Thank you, gentlemen. Today we're trying to fix 2018's Ant-Man and the Wasp. Directed by Peyton Reed and written by a ton of people, this movie stars Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly, Michael Douglas, Michael Pena, Michelle Pfeiffer, Randall Park, Lawrence Fishburne, Hannah John Kamen, and of course, Walton Goggins. Yes, his first name is Walton. And if I may add, he stars in one of the best TV shows of all time, Justified. This movie cost anywhere between $130 and $195 million, and it ended up making $622.7 million. And if you care, it is an 87% on Rotten Tomatoes. Anyway, back to you, gentlemen.
An adequate job, Brian.
Decently done, Brian.
Sufficient.
A C. Straight C.
Bully.
Sure. Technically passing.
Yes. But you're on thin ice. No, great job, Brian. It's just fun.
That was comprehensive. Yes, well done.
Every time we come back from this segment, I really just want to say, bad job, Brian, because your butthole gets so tight. You're like, no, why would you say that?
He's your best friend. He's number one best friend. You be nice to him.
We pay him for his time.
We do. Doesn't mean you should be mean to him. Comes up with
you
cool
work
bumper.
for us.
You tyrant.
All right.
There's a reason you're the Mary Jane.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm the flavor, baby. Yeah, so I think we kind of have our marching orders like kind of laid before us when fixing this thing. Like I think this is one is like no, this was a weird fix for me because I was like, I know what I want to fix. I know what I need to take out. I just don't know what I'm putting in.
Yes. The fixes with both of our fixes is figuring out a better obstacle between them and getting Janet and Scott getting, doing his time for the next couple of days to end probation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was yes.
1000%.
Because everything else is fine. Everything else is fine. Everything else is fun. That's the thing. Everything else is fun. Just change the obstacles. Still have fun getting around them, but just going to change the obstacles just a little bit.
Yeah. And in my opinion, give his crew more to do.
Yes. I didn't do it. I tried to give them more to do, but it's like, but this is hard. There's a lot of balls in the air for this one.
Yeah.
Because they had to going into this movie, because I watched this earlier in the week, and when we got to the credits, like I didn't watch the mid credit scene again, but I stopped it right before I closed the window. There were 5 writers on this movie, Paul Rudd being one of them, but like that made sense to me. I was like looking back at it now, like, this movie needed to do a whole lot, and there was a lot going on in this movie that it probably needed like a lot of. So how do we juggle all these balls and like make sure that like the crew's got some fun stuff to do? We can still do a Luis, drunk history type of like them tell a story of what's going on type of thing, and like there was so many things. Of course, a couple of things got less attention, like the bad guys and the obstacles. Yeah, so we had more time for Hank and Janet and Hope and the crew and Scott and Cassie, and then and having the ex-wife and the husband showing up, or who just like they're all Team Scott now, and it's like, oh, this is nice, but like I feel like you guys didn't need to be in this movie, but like because you were in the first one, you still need to be here. When really just Cassie needed to be here. Like, yeah, it's just like they needed to have a bunch of stuff going in. It's like, there's so much stuff.
Dude, Michael Pena is so funny. He needs to be in the movie. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, absolutely. No, I'm not saying get rid of him. Just like it's hard.
He's a national treasure in these movies. Yeah. He's so funny. He is like the right, like, I don't know, man. He
helps set the tone.
Yes. I love it when he is talking to like the other. Anytime he's talking to anyone other than Scott, it's just magic. When he's sitting in the car with the Wasp, like after they beaten everybody up, and he's like, "Oh, so hey, cool. I like your suit."
I was thinking about getting a suit, maybe some powers. I mean, we didn't need powers.
Cool, man.
Just maybe like a suit.
Yeah, just like a suit.
But
he's just got a smile on his face. He's like being really nice. Yeah. He's like, "Hey, man,
he's happy to be here.
I have nothing to say to you, but we can talk."
Open the Hot Wheels container.
Dude, that's the kind of stuff. That's the fun. The Hot Wheels, having all those cars in there. That's the good shit. Yeah, like that's that's the stuff that I still think about. I'm like, how cool would it be?
How cool would it be
to just have like a fleet of cars in a Hot Wheels container? That's the best. Like, oh, whatever car I need. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
There's a lot of very clever ideas in this movie. I hope that I don't know who the team is going into Quantumania, but just knowing the subject matter of it, I'm not entirely sure how the happy-go-lucky, fun Ant-Man crew are going to handle dealing with quantum-sized Kang. It just kind of feels like we're in for a total shift.
I think but I think this movie actually kind of transitions nicely. Will transition nicely into this third one, because as much fun as I wanted the second one to be, part of me is like, yeah, but it's gonna break for Ant-Man in a pretty spectacular fashion when we inevitably get to all the quantum stuff. I don't know. I think we need to fix this. Thing.
We do need to fix this thing.
Yeah. Who's going first?
I am.
All right, Adam. Ant-Man and the Wasp from 2018.
Nailed it.
Got it.
Look at you.
Adam, fix it.
Okay. Here we go. I don't know. I don't know. Words just honestly, Jay, words came out of my mouth, and I was not in control of them. I don't know.
What are you talking to, man? I know. I say stuff all the time.
I don't.
I talked about for 20 minutes about a veal parmesan banana split last week. So yeah, I get it.
Okay, so basically, like I said earlier, my goal for this fix is to fix the obstacles and give them a little bit more, And remember, fixing Ghost, I forgot, we didn't talk about this before. Ghost really needs a fix in this movie.
Yeah.
Because Ghost is going to be in Thunderbolts.
Yep.
So, they need to do right by her, and we're like, hey, here's why she's here, and not just because like, oh yeah, Ghost is still alive, so that's a character. Ghost can be in Thunderbirds, Thunderbolts.
Yeah,
Thunderbirds are go. This is what it's like to be you, huh, Jay? I don't like it.
Yeah. You learn to embrace it. You know, it's like how Cassie inevitably just absorbs all the Pym particles and can just shrink and grow without them.
Oh,
yeah, you'll just embrace the Speed Force. I don't know how they're gonna do it in the movies, but that in the comics, she can just do it.
She can just. Oh, that's neat.
Yeah,
I don't know. Okay, so this is how my movie starts. Differently than the real movie, which is just like, we can save Janet. We got to do it. That was, which I thought was very interesting. That's the first scene. The prologue is, we can save Janet. Let's just start building. Like, oh, okay, that's.
Yeah, I also.
Okay.
I mean, the opening of them being the original Ant-Man and the Wasp. I really liked that.
Oh, sure. That was really good.
Yeah, it was nice.
Okay, so my movie opens on basically the lab experiment that goes wrong.
Okay.
So this is back in the past. We're at a SHIELD lab right after Hank Pym left SHIELD and took his Pym particles with him. Like, we can do it through dialogue. Because remember, in the first one, he's like, you guys are misusing my stuff. I'm out of here. And they're like, no, wait, don't go,
but
Hank.
Where will we get Pym particles? Where do you get them? He's like, you'll never know. No one will.
So we're in a lab, and it's run by Dr. Michael Stockton. And he's basically doing something on, trying to... He's got like a quantum-ish tunnel-y type of thing, whatever, working on Pym particles, and there's a massive... he's failed multiple times. Yeah. And so he's trying one more time to get working for S.H.I.E.L.D. to come up with Pym particles on their own. Yeah. The experiment, of course, does not work. There's a huge, massive explosion. A bunch of scientists die. He doesn't, because he's just out of a blast radius or whatever. But we see one of the daughters of the scientists just get annihilated, like Dr. Manhattan, just just get melted by
Jamba juice.
Yeah, just oh my god. And it's like, what, Hank Pym? Ah! So he's super angry at Hank for leaving S.H.I.E.L.D.
Gotcha.
And he blames Hank for all of this because this wouldn't have happened if he were still he stayed because, well, we'll get into that later. So then we do the Marvel intro. It's all fun. It's cool. Q and Scott's with Cassie at his place. They're doing the heist. Yeah. But this version, as Scott is telling Cassie about what he needs to do for this heist, we are then going to cut to somebody breaking into a damage control facility. Oh. And we're going to see Hope. Well, not really going to see Hope. We'll see how Hope breaks into this damage control facility as Scott says a thing like, oh, we need to do this next, as Cassie does something cool with the cardboard stuff. But then we cut to seeing Hope do something kind of similar to what Scott just said, but she's really tiny, so we're not seeing her, but we're seeing the effects of her actions of flipping it over, punching a guy, moving through a coat, doing cool Wasp stuff. Yeah. But we're not seeing her, but we're seeing, because she's so tiny. Yes. But we're seeing her accomplish her goal. Yeah. Through Scott narrating what he's doing with Cassie. So two things are happening at the same time. The same thing happens at the end when Scott, they go down the slide. It's super adorable and cute. His foot breaks out of the fence. It's like, oh no. Then Jimmy Woo comes with the rest of the FBI.
Yeah, I don't think... I'm also keeping that opening... That opening sequence is just so good.
Oh, it's magic.
Yeah, it's great.
Because...
It informs so much.
Because Paul Rudd's adorable. Yeah. He works so well with children. Yeah. That young actress playing Cassie is just... So you good. Just want to squeeze her. She's so cute.
Oh, you know what she's doing? Her next move, she's in the Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. She's playing Margaret.
Oh, wow.
That movie. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, she's wonderful. So... Jimmy Woo shows up, so it's basically just the same scene that happens in the movie, and Jimmy's talking to Scott, and Scott's like, it's not, I'm sorry, everyone's breaking in the house, whatever, blah, 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 blah. It's the same basic scene. He does the magic stuff. But the difference now is this, on top of Jimmy coming with the FBI, Damage Control shows up. Oh. Because, we get the information about the Sokovia Accords and stuff like this. And remember, Damage Control does exist in this time period, because Damage Control was mentioned or started in... Homecoming. It's Spider-Man Homecoming. Oh, Damage Control is the company that Tony built that took the tech away from Vulture and caused them to start doing stuff on their own because, hey, wait a second, I'm just a small-time businessman just trying to do a thing and you're not taking work away from me? Screw you guys. I'm going to do the Vulture stuff.
Yeah.
So they've been around for a while. So since damage control is so big now, it makes sense to, retconning things to show them like their growth a little bit before the events of Endgame. So that after Endgame, we'll see like, oh, they've really kind of grown now.
They've had to. So there's another agent, and he's got somebody who's working with him, Dr. Stockton, from the prologue. Baxter? Please don't.
It's not Baxter Stockton. He starts asking Scott a bunch of questions about Hank Pym, Hope, and Pym particles. And wait a second, this guy knows a whole lot about you guys and these Pym particles. Scott's kind of blowing him off. And he also just doesn't know. He's not a science guy, he's a thief guy. But this Dr. Stockton guy is like, whoa, okay. But as Scott is talking to Jimmy and getting harangued by Stockton, Hope and Hank open up the quantum tunnel. Because Hope was getting something from damage control. She got a MacGuffin to help open the tunnel. They open it while Scott's talking to Jimmy and Dr. Stockton. And Scott gets a little woozy. So we're actually going to see him get a vision and actually time it to the quantum tunnel opening.
Gotcha.
Instead of just kind of happening I remember something. No, so we're timing it to the tunnel opening. So Scott
we're showing and not telling them.
Yes. So Scott gets a little woozy and Stockton clocks it, but he keeps his mouth shut. He knows something's up. Then Scott gets a vision of Janet. And then they close the tunnel down. And so Scott's like, okay, and talks his way out of Jimmy, and I was like, hey, I'm fine. I just 2 days left. I just want to hang out with my daughter. We got and Luis is there. I just want to go back to start my business.
Sorry, it's like Pym particle withdrawal, or something.
Something. He talks his way out of it, but everyone's like, okay, stay in the straight and narrow, Scott. I'm trying. I need 2 days, guys.
Yeah.
Everything's gonna be fine. So a little while later, right after they leave. We see Ghost. We flash over to New York City.
New York City?
And we see Ghost accomplish a job. Now, we're not going to see her powers. This is kind of like a horror scene. We're going to see her hunting this guy and, showing up in places she should not have been able to get to. Because, his guy, ran and closed the door and whatever. And all of a sudden, she's, in the room, wait, how did... So, we're alluding to her powers.
Gotcha.
But we're not seeing her face through anything. And she kills a guy. And then gets a text you need to come to San Francisco. Okay. So she's on her way. So
Ghost out.
Sure.
It's morphin' time.
So a little later in the day, or now it's night, Scott retrieves his phone to call Hank and Hope.
Yeah.
But he calls, leaves the message, and as he hangs up, he sees motion in his peripheral vision and is like, wait, Hope, is that... He gets, knocked unconscious. So Hope is already there. So he gets knocked out. Wakes up in the car. They have a little conversation back and forth. Wait a second, I just called you. Were you already there? Blah blah blah. And they, argue a little bit about Civil War. Nothing super crazy yet, because as they're talking about what the heck was just happening, Scott goes, hit the brakes, because there's someone standing in the road and it's Ghost, but it's too late for Hope slams on the brakes, but it's too late, and Ghost kind of phases into the van like there's those vampires or whatever from Matrix Reloaded?
The twins?
Yes.
Yeah.
Phases into the van like that.
I don't think they were vampires, but
no, they weren't vampires. They were something.
They were malignant code or something.
Yeah, whatever they were. Fades into the van, and then now we have a fight scene. A quick little fight scene between Ghost, Scott, and Hope. Hope still has her outfit on, the Wasp outfit. Again, we're not seeing her use it. We just see her in her. She's wearing it. Scott does not have a suit on. So Scott's getting his butt kicked. Ghost is, trying to interfere with Hope. Hope takes over, and Scott starts driving. And they're like, okay, we see a little bit of the shrinking a little bit of the phasing to the point where we're like, wait, what just happened? And Ghost grabs a couple of Pym discs, those shrinking discs off the workbench on the van, and then phases out of the van. And they're like, what the heck was that? And Hope's like, I don't know. Okay, let's get back to the lab. We'll talk to my dad. We'll figure all this out. So we get back to the lab, and then it's like, okay, everyone starts talking to each other. Okay, we know what just happened. We were just attacked by somebody, phasing powers or something like that. And then Hank's like, well, that kind of sounds like that she was able to either can do it naturally or has a tech that allows her to change her quantum signature or whatever. Quantum phase. Are you just saying words and putting quantum in front of it? Is that what's going on? Yes. So Hank is like, it's probably this, but we don't have time to worry about that now. What we need to be focusing on is getting Janet out of the quantum realm.
Yeah.
And Scott's like, excuse me, what? And I was like, well, you called us. You got a vision. It timed out right when we opened the tunnel to the quantum realm. So, like, we think Janet's, gettable. So, like, okay, well, so we need to figure out how do we get her. Now that we know that she's there and it seems like you're connected to her, we need to figure out our next step to get a MacGuffin. Cut over to Stockton at damage control, who's in the middle of, like, trying to hunt down Hank.
Him being connected to Janet through the quantum realm is the perfect example of sometimes when it's just like sometimes things being like, oh, why reasons.
Shut up. It's
that
cool.
I'm okay with.
Yeah.
Like I
you were down there, she is down there, so like
great done.
Yep, it's easy. Don't
Sometimes
worry about
you can get away with it. But it's hard.
So Stockton's at damage control, like looking at TV screens and trying to hunt down. Hey, we gotta find the because he's clearly through dialogue. He's like he wants to turn Hank into the authorities because like he wants to ruin Hank because he screwed Shield over and he caused the death of multiple people. It's his and now with the Sokovia Accords, like Hank's in violation of that. This is a perfect opportunity, especially after Civil War, of seeing his technology being used in Germany. Like this is the perfect opportunity to like ruin Hank Pym, and he's trying to. He's like he's gonna run with it. So he's rabble, looking at stuff and ordering people around, and then he gets a text on his phone like, "Oh, I'm gonna go." Walks away into like a secret little side lab somewhere in damage control, and there's Ghost, and they have a little tete-a-tete like, "Hey, here's some Pym particle discs or whatever." And he's like, "Yes, finally, I'll have the answers I've been looking for 30 years." So then because this is all he's just monologuing about hoarding technology and stuff like that, and then we see Ghost's powers, because you've already been mentioned that she phases, like get just a little wonky, just a little like not in her control, because we didn't really see it in the movie, not too much, but like really not. Now she's like like jumps like kind of almost like the Ring Ghost, like she's like kind of like stutter steps and like is over in another part of the room out with it, and she didn't do it herself.
The lag gets too bad.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
they told us a lot about that, but never really showed us that.
Yeah. So then back over to the Pym lab and the whole discussion about Janet, the transmitter, the ticking clock, all that stuff's good. Scott tells them about the damage control and the FBI, and tells Hank about Stockton, and then Hank's like, "Oh, Stockton was this guy." Backstory about him working at Shield. Stockton really wanted to figure out the Pym particles, but the way he wanted to use them was not something I was okay with, and then Shield in general, like that's why I left. So like I know that guy, he was up to no good, like he wanted to start trouble in my neighborhood. So we're going clearly this guy has a personal grudge. So Scott's like, "Guys, I care about you guys, and I hope. I'm really sorry about all the stuff with Civil War and all that kind of stuff. I would really love to help you, but like, I got like a day and a half left of my probation, and then I can start the company with my friends and see Cassie. Like, I need to be home, so the FBI doesn't arrest me." And they're like, "Oh no, but the aunt." Oh, okay, fine, sure. So they'd use the quantum tunnel again to get the bearing on the bearing on where Janet is. Since Scott is right there, he's like, he gets a flash, and then we did the little Janet scene. But this time, instead of just like, because remember she kind of like came in and was like, "Oh, your code's wrong," and just starts coding. And I was like, how did you? It's been 30 years and technology has changed a lot. There weren't really laptops back then. How did you just...
Look, man, it's Michelle Pfeiffer. What do you want?
Sure. This time, though, she's like...
She's so pretty, I believe a computer will do whatever she wants it to.
That's true. That's true.
But
this time, she
shows some respect.
I'm showing respect by having her be in Scott and actually see what's going on first.
Because that sequence was great.
Yes. And then,
it was hilarious.
And then she's like, "Hi. Oh, hello. Oh, I actually... You know what?" She's like looking over his shoulder and kind of like... "Oh, honey, it's always I have to check your code, blah blah blah." Let me just. They're like, "Janet, hi."
And it was that's perfect. That's
it just changes the order of things a little bit.
Absolutely, and it's a perfect tone for that movie, and that it's really silly, but it's also meaningful. Like there's not a lot of throwaway in these movies.
Not really, no.
Yeah, it's very earnest.
So now we have the ticking clock of like, okay, I'm going to be here. We need to get one more MacGuffin to be able to actually like go to like travel, further in to figure out where you are. We just need a MacGuffin. So then Luis calls Scott about, hey, we got the meeting for the plan for the guy, that will help the business in a couple of days. I need your help to do the thing. So Scott's got that on his plate as well, and also to introduce the guys to like, hey, remember the crew's still here and they need help. So now that they realize they needed one more MacGuffin to like solidify the quantum tunnel or whatever to get to where they need to go, and for more information about Stockton, Hank's got an idea. He does have somebody who might know more about Stockton and know where this device might be. So they go to Lawrence Fishburne at the college. And this time, Lawrence Fishburne is not a dick to them at all. They parted on better terms. And he's not also like harboring, somebody who has got a grudge against him.
And Goliath is a fun character to have around. If they should have had Goliath, like I think it would have actually improved that movie tenfold if they'd had Goliath in that little like other flashback with the two of them.
Yes.
Like if they would have had Goliath in there somewhere, it would have made a lot more sense. Be like, oh yeah, we were like showing that fallout a little bit and not telling us yet again.
So Fishburne tells them, gives them an update on like Stockton, like, oh yeah, Hank, when you left S.H.I.E.L.D., like Stockton kind of went not crazy, but like he was really adamant about trying to figure out your PIM particles because he had designs for them and he really wanted to help a lot of people. But like obviously a lot of people died. Like that poor guy's daughter is like totally got disintegrated. Like it was
totally Jamba Juice.
It was bad. But here's I heard through the grapevine that he got hired by Damage Control, and also that thing that you need for the quantum tunnel. I know where that part might be. It's here.
Yeah.
Great. So they scoot off just as the FBI and Damage Control show up because someone spotted them. So now we have a little bit of a chase, a little bit, nothing too super crazy.
Sure.
But when they go question Goliath, Stockton clocks something somewhere, either through like something that Fishburne says or just some like data somewhere on his desk or something like that about the MacGuffin, and realizes, aha, they need this thing to keep their tunnel open longer for whatever reason, and clearly they now have enough information and technology to cure Ghost's issue.
Gotcha.
Just the technology. There's no Janet is not involved in like being just like they have the ability to cure Ghost of her phase issue. Trying to like milk Janet or it was like
her quantum phasing.
Yeah, that's
quantum to it.
Yeah. So Stockton steps away and texts Ghost of like, hey, they're gonna head towards this because he already figures out because he knows where they're going. So. They head over to now that the FBI and Damage Control are after them. The gang heads over to ex-con's office and they have a little scene with the crew. And then everyone's like, Baba Yaga, and all that stuff happens there. It's cute. The guys are awesome. We like hanging out with them. Scott, if we're gonna go break into this building for another MacGuffin, like, can I get a suit? Because I need a suit. Because like, Hope's suit is awesome. We're like, okay, fine, you can get a suit, but like, this is an older suit. So Scott gets the broken suit.
Yeah.
And so they head over to where the MacGuffin is, and Ghost is waiting for him. And they fight again, and this time the regulator is really going to mess up. And sometimes he gets big and it helps, sometimes it gets small and it doesn't. Unfortunately for Scott, it stays small for most of the fight. So it looks like Ghost is fighting a kid. And we're going to play this up for laughs, because it's Scott. We see him doing punt, but like at the same time, we're going to see tiny Scott getting tossed around a little bit, because he's in child form.
Yeah.
And I think that was funny. I think hurting child-sized Scott Lang is funny. So eventually, though, Wasp and Ant-Man will win. They'll be able to grab the MacGuffin, and Ghost phases out and be like, haha, I put a tracking device on the thing. Now we know where your lab's going to be. Ho, 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 ho. So everyone heads back to their labs, and they put everything together, and Scott's like, I got to get back because the FBI is going to be looking for me. They thought I was at the college. So Scott races back home, and the same thing can basically happen. Like, chases, takes his place with the ant. I was like, I was sick. And then he talks to Jimmy. And this is a big difference. This time he's going to talk to Jimmy, and he's actually going to be like, hey, that Stockton guy? I don't know about him, man. Something doesn't seem right about him. Like, Damage Control just showing up out of nowhere, and like, I think maybe we should look, just something that get Jimmy kind of on his side. And like, Jimmy was like, it's weird because Jimmy in this movie was like, I just want to arrest Scott. I think it'd be great. And I'm awkward, but I wouldn't really want to arrest Scott. But in WandaVision, he's like way cooler and like a little bit more hip to like, hey, heroes they gotta follow the law, but there's a reason why these heroes are here, and they help more than they hurt. So like, I think this is the beginning of that.
Yes.
So Scott actually like breaks through Jimmy a little bit and like, hey, maybe check this guy out. Okay. And so then back over the lab, they put the MacGuffin into the thing. The quantum tunnel's ready to go. They have to move the thing to somewhere better, and they get picked up by the FBI.
Yeah.
So basically the same thing. They shrink the thing. Like, oh no, the FBI's there. Oh no. So Scott with his broken suit, he has to break out Hank and Janet, and Hope, just like in the movie. And when they get arrested, of course, the FBI and Damage Control get the building. And then Ghost kills a guy. No, Stockton kills a guy with one of the shrink discs.
Ah, okay.
So he's a killer. He dies. Grabs the building. Stockton grabs the building. So with Hank and Hope broken out of jail, they need to go get the building back. So they kind of lure Ghost and Stockton out of the lab like they do in the movie, in the first version of the movie. But this time, Hope and Ghost go fight, and Scott takes on Stockton, and Stockton comes out in a kind of like a super suit, and he reveals that he's Dr. Nemesis. He's going to be Hank Pym's nemesis.
Gotcha.
So you can refer to me as Dr. Nemesis. Dr. Nemesis is a D-list, F-list, G-list. He is a deep, deep cut. I had to look up on Wikipedia, like, I need other Hank Pym bad guys. Dr. Nemesis. Oh, he changed his size with Pym. Perfect. Yep, one of these. It's the base. It's an evil version of the hero. I don't care. We're doing it again because this guy really hates Hank. So he's going to use his technology to ruin Hank.
Yeah.
So Scott and him fight, but Ghost and Hope also fight. But Hope gets through to Ghost. And it's like, because she sees like her powers kind of juddering or whatever, and I was like, hey, what? And like Ghost reveals herself as shockingly, the little girl that disintegrated like Dr. Manhattan at the beginning of the movie. But her backstory is very different in this movie because she did not get picked up by S.H.I.E.L.D. She got picked up by Hydra.
Oh, okay.
So she was a Hydra assassin against her will.
Yeah, that's more fun.
It's way more fun for the last 15 years. And then when Hydra was taken out, Stockton found her and realized that, like, oh, your powers are deteriorating. I know somebody, I know who can help you. We have to find Hank Pym and get the technology from him. He should be able to help.
Great. Yeah.
So now there's more of a reason why she doesn't.
But also, maybe if they had just asked.
Well, no, Stockton would not have asked.
Yes, but that makes more. Yeah.
Yes, that makes more sense. I need somebody in her corner that would not ask.
Yes.
Stockton would not ask.
1,000%.
He hates Hank.
Yeah.
So Hope is like, we can fix you. We can cure you. We need to do something.
Yeah.
But like, as soon as we're done with it, like, it's gonna take 50. So Hope. There's still so many H words. Hope talks Ghost down, and so they go to the lab where that Hank is now in because everyone was outside of it. And I was like, hey, this is Ghost. She has an issue with her thing. Like, she's totally cool. Like, she needs our help, but like, we got to get Mom first. Great. They get ready, and when they open up the quantum tunnel, though, her Ghost's powers go out of control, and she kind of goes a little nuts because like it's not in her, and she's like kind of like and phases like out, and so she's like, oh no, that was okay. Well, we got to worry about that later. We'll help her when we get back. Like, we got to go get Jan. So Hank goes in the quantum realm. Meanwhile, Scott and Stockton are fighting, and and then that's when the FBI shows up. That's when Damage Control shows up, and at this point, basically, it's the chase all over again. But this time, it's Scott and Stockton fighting, as well as Ghost, kind of porting in, and because she was like, she was there, and then her powers went fritzy, and then you can communicate, but she's a little bit like, so she's like trying to like turn off the tunnel. So like everyone's chasing each other. So like the same chase can basically happen. The crew can be back involved. Yeah. Shrinking, but it's Damage Control, not not Walter Goggins.
Good job.
Guys being bounced around or whatever. It's Damage Control being bounced around. And also Jimmy's following them as well. Because the FBI is involved.
Walton, not Walter.
Walter?
Walton Goggins.
Walter Goggins?
Walton.
Sorry.
Pretty sure it's Walton.
Sorry, I mispronounced your name. Oops.
We get there.
I'm sure Brian had already jumped in and said,
Oh yeah.
Adam's a dummy, and he kept
We
saying
both-
his name
we
wrong.
both were saying it wrong. It's okay.
So basically, it's the same basic chase before, just a little bit some more added elements. But this time at the end of it, it's Scott versus Stockton, and Scott is going to win ultimately because he's got more experience with shrinking and growing. But he's also going to use that sleight of hand trick from earlier with the growing disc, and makes Stockton grow, which we know from Civil War that if you're not prepared for it, you're not going to last very long because you're going to pass out.
Oh, okay.
So Scott uses the knowledge he has of, his abilities against Stockton in a cool sleight of hand trick, because like they brought it in like I felt like, I mean, they didn't need to, but like also like that would have been a nice little like boop, too big. Oh, I'm going to crush you. Passes out. Cool, Scott wins! Yay! They get the building. Everything's cool. Janet comes back just in the nick of time, and she cures Ghost, but like Ghost kind of comes back in to like turn off the tunnel, and like, whoa!
Yeah,
it's okay. I can help. Like, there's no like dramas. Just kind of like, I can help you. Heals her. Great. Here's the other twist. Not twist, but here's the other thing. During the whole fight, in the chase through San Francisco, everybody saw Ant-Man. He's getting bigger, getting smaller, and there's a couple times where he was like child size, and like and Stockton's suit is close-ish to Ant-Man's suit, where everyone's thinking that Ant-Man is terrorizing San Francisco for whatever reason. Oh my God, he was also beating up a kid. How could he do? Because Scott is child size, and everyone's recording him, but everything just happens just to be about Scott. They never really see Stockton. So realizing that like everyone hates Ant-Man or whatever. After everything gets, the building gets surrounded, but everyone kind of like gets out of there. They bamboozle the FBI by putting Stockton in the broken Ant-Man suit and have the FBI pick him up, not an empty suit like in the movie. So, and Jimmy figures out what's going on. Jimmy is not dumb.
Yeah.
Jimmy is a good agent and realizes at this point, like, something clearly was going on here. Scott's not that bad of a guy. I do need an arrest because I just want one to help my career. I'll take this win.
Yeah.
It's all right. I'll take this win. Then, but Scott, gets back to his house just in time. And the FBI's like, oh, I've been here the whole time. And Wu's like, cool, Scott. Cool. And they have that awkward exchange. And I was like, takes his bracelet. I was like, are you asking me out for dinner? Do you want to go to dinner? Here's the difference. They go out to dinner.
They need to go out.
They go out to dinner.
Friends. Have them be friends.
Yes, they're going to be friends.
They need to be friends.
They need to be friends.
It's just too funny to have them not be friends.
And and Wu and Scott being friends is a very good first step for Jimmy Woo's just journey in the MCU.
1,000%. And it actually bums me out that the post credit sequence, rather than the ant playing drums, which I guess is clever, but it really should have been like them at like PF Chang's.
Yes, just something. Because they're both very funny people.
Yeah.
And just having them kind of like start this awkward, weird friendship. Because like after a couple years and like Jimmy being as a caseworker or whatever, but like maybe that would have been like struck up a little bit of a, a little bit of a friendship. And now that he's a free man, and Jimmy kind of like knows what Scott was doing, but like is cool with it because he arrested the real bad. Yeah, he was saving the day from an actual bad guy. So they go out and it's fun. It's a little awkward, but like Jimmy's a cool guy.
Yeah.
And then of course we have the after credit scene or the mid credit scene where they go, let's go check out the quantum tunnel and see what's going on there. Oh no, Scott's trapped. Oh no, everybody, where's everybody go? Oh no.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Cool, man.
Dr. Nemesis.
Dr. Nemesis. Sure.
I mean, that's a Silver Age bad guy if there ever was one, right?
Why not?
Jeez.
Silver Age, oh boy. Oh boy.
Deep cut. That's a deep
cut.
a deep cut. But why not? So yeah. Ghost got a better backstory. Getting picked up by Hydra. That's way better than S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yes.
I'm honestly kind of surprised. You know what? I'm very surprised they didn't say that in the movie.
Well, because S.H.I.E.L.D. was Hydra, quote unquote, you know what I mean? Like,
Sure. But like, like Hydra proper, not Hydra inside of S.H.I.E.L.D.
No. It's just not. Or maybe like the same people that like have Winter Soldier.
Sure.
Like maybe the Russians got him, like got her. Who's to say? Like maybe he like I don't know. Yeah, it just doesn't totally track. Or you could just be like, hey, there was Hydra agents inside of Shield that kind of swooped me up and kind of snuck me over to the the bad side of things. Huh. All right.
Yeah.
Good fix, bud.
Thanks, dude.
Great job. Great job.
Okay. Now it's your turn. You need to fix it.
All right. Why do you hit what's
Because if you don't, I'm gonna kill your mother. I don't know. Again, I don't know. Words are coming out of my mouth, Jay. I don't know.
Oh man, we gotta.
It's been a very busy week, Jay. I just been talking all week. I don't know. I'm running out of self-control, bud.
Okay. So my fix for Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yes.
We are keeping. I'm keeping the majority, like the first 15 minutes of the movie. I love all of that. That heist stuff is great. Interspersed with that, we are. Well, first of all, my thesis statement for this movie is that I want to give. I want to keep a lot of this movie the same, but I want to give the people that are trying to get the lab a little bit more of a more interesting reason to do that in a Marvel sense.
Sure.
And in a grand scheme of what's going on in the Marvel universe and what's going to be happening with Ant-Man in the future.
Sure.
Like where we're like, because everyone's like, this Quantum Mania thing seems like it's coming out of nowhere. I'm like, it kind of is. So I don't want it to come completely out of nowhere.
Sure.
And so for this fix in particular, I was struggling, but then I remembered my old fix from Iron Man 3.
That was only 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, 6 weeks. Yeah. So
too long ago.
I'm actually expanding. My Ant-Man fix is going to exist in a universe where my fix for Iron Man 3 was Iron Man 3.
Okay.
So,
can you give us a quick reminder of what that was?
I'll explain it. I'll explain it. Okay. Basically, if you recall, AIM was experimenting with the Extremist program.
Right.
And the majority of the nation had become aware of AIM and had become aware that they're building super soldiers for the United States government.
Oh, that's right. They were doing Extremists and the armor.
They were, well, they were doing Extremists to try to they were both playing both sides with Extremists, and so they got an extraordinarily bad rap for being this group of scientists that were, but they were not necessarily they didn't have humanity's best interests at heart. So interspersed in this intro, we are getting kind of a press conference that is for the relaunch of AIM.
Okay.
AIM started as and since we're in San Francisco, it's it's very Silicon Valley-esque, but
I like it.
But one thing in researching AIM, did you know the leader of the AIM is called Scientist Supreme?
Yes.
So the AIM that we've kind of transitioned into away from what got started in Iron Man 3, it almost has kind of a cult vibe to it. Everyone's kind of wearing sweatsuits, the yellow sweatsuits and stuff.
Yep.
It feels a little it's a little crunchy. It's a little we decided we wanted to. AIM has still been something in our hearts, and we're gonna solve the energy crisis in America.
I love this.
Yeah,
this is very smart.
And it's okay. And he's they joke around. We meet the new CEO of AIM. It's that. They joke that they call me the Scientist Supreme around here, even though they do. George Charlton is the head of AIM.
Great,
as we know it. And he's we've decided to we're going to be revolutionizing the energy industry in the country. We're starting with San Francisco because that's the home of all tech in America and blah blah blah. And so we're keeping I'm keeping a lot of the stuff up into Scott getting out pretty much the same. He has the dream about Janet, calls Hank, they come kidnap him. Because they're hey, we opened the quantum tunnel, but we were missing a part, so it only stayed open for a moment. But that was right when you called.
Yep.
We're going to pick up this last piece that we think is going to be the last piece for the quantum tunnel. like that's we're gonna go pick that up. Like I have a guy, like he's actually really nice. He's been really helpful.
Okay.
They go to the same restaurant, but she sits down.
Hope.
Yes, sorry. Hope sits down, and what normally would be like a great conversation she's having with this person, it's very clear that like they're very friendly and he's been very happy to help them. But you can kind of see that there's like something in his eye the whole time as they're like having a conversation.
Okay.
And basically like he's like trying to like give her the part, but like as like she opens like the bag with the part in it, like there's a note that just says that, like they're here, like you need to go now. I'll get my money later. And as soon as she's like she clocks the note and like gets up to go, basically like you can see all like the kind of goons like sit up at the different tables.
Okay.
And basically like they are trying to get the part from her. And you know, she does all of her Wasp stuff, keep that combat the same.
Wasp doing Wasp things.
The salt shaker.
It's very
Dude, that's so good, man.
And it was a good shot of him just whap. Like, yeah, it was very good.
Yeah. So they inevitably get the part, and they make their way back to the lab. But we find out as they are driving that they've been tailed. And like basically like there's a little bit of a car chase, and we find out that their car like gets trashed a little bit, and so they're on foot, and we have kind of like a back alley street fight with
Okay.
After they leave and they get tailed, they are approached by a ghost-esque individual, but it's not the ghost this time.
Okay.
Basically, one of their bads for this is going to be the Adaptoid, which is because here's why I think it fixes it for me.
Okay.
Do you know what was great about Ant-Man 1? That Yellow Jacket also shrunk.
Right.
And they were having all of the fights with them being smaller and then getting bigger.
Right.
And the creativity of like everything
The
that
setting
they were
of the
capable
fights.
of doing
Yes.
was really, really cool.
Yes.
That was my issue with the ghost stuff, because it was like their powers are too dissimilar for me that like it just doesn't feel as fun. And so they basically get approached in an alleyway being like I'm from AIM, like you have something that like
belongs to us.
Like you need to give that back.
Okay.
And she was like, I didn't realize that like these pieces had been from AIM. Like this was very clearly made by my friend. Like I don't know what's going on here. And then we find out that like you're from AIM, like, or like are you one of their super soldiers? And the Adaptoid's like, she's basically like, well, we kind of figured out that like instead of like building super soldiers, like it's just easier to kind of just copy them rather than make one. So I'm just kind of a copy, I guess you could say. And like she kind of like grabs Hope by the arm to like take the thing, and you can kind of see like her suit like kind of like activate and like move in. And so there's a little bit of they're fighting and stuff, but like you can see her suit kind of like
started adjusting,
like booting up.
Yep.
And she's doing all the super soldier stuff. And then eventually, like, it gets to a point in the fight where the Adaptoid shrinks, and then there's a small fight, and she's like, "How are you doing?" Like, and they make their escape. They kind of like dumpster the Adaptoid a little bit.
Sure.
I like the idea that they make her too big, and she kind of that was clever.
Thank you.
They make their way back to the lab, and we have all of the everything that leads up to that, but they're like, we've probably been followed. They put the piece in, but they're like, we gotta go. They get the lab shrunk. They get it in the car, and like as they're going, like the Adaptoid again, gets no. You know what? It can't be too big, because the Adaptoid gets too big, picks the car up, and like grabs the lab out of the back and like sets him down, and then is gone.
Okay. Yikes.
They have a tracker on the lab.
Sure, of course.
Because like when they were like, "Where's the lab?" I was like, "You don't have a tracker on it, dude? Come on, man." They have a tracker on the lab. They find out that the lab has gone to AIM headquarters. And
Okay.
like,
They got to break into AIM.
so another thing about Ant-Man 1 that I think was missing from Ant-Man 2, there was no heist.
There was no heist.
So they're like, well, we got to figure out a way to break into AIM. And I don't know, like, I don't think we have enough going on. Like, they're gonna know we're small there. Like, we got to figure out a way to like cleverly get in here. And Scott's like, I mean, well,
We got the guys.
If we need people, I've got people. So he brings in his crew.
Yeah.
And I love the idea of the three of them having to like they all go get jobs at AIM and they're like wearing little outfits and like I just love the
Trying
idea of
to join the
Luis
cult.
being like,
Yeah.
hey man, what's up? Oh, science stuff? Neat.
I love science. Yeah.
I love science. Oh, cool, man. These jumpsuits are pretty great, right? Awesome.
It's so comfy.
But like, you know, that's what I like about them. Like, they're kind of knuckleheads, but they're also like good. Like,
Yes.
But they're also like, oh yeah, like it feels like an act, but like it isn't. But it feels like, I don't know. It's great. So like them like infiltrating and like they hatch a plan, break into AIM, and eventually when we pan back to AIM, we see George and all of his people and the Adaptoid, like, they can't get the lab to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And they're still trying to figure out, they're like, oh, well, like, we need this tech for very specific purposes. And like we need to be able to get into this lab. And they're very frustrated about it. They're really, really pissed off. And it's very clearly like really important. Someone's like, why do we need, like, we could probably just figure this out. Like, when he's like, I need, like, you don't understand. Like, this is a very big deal. Like, a lot of lives are on the line about this. And he's like starting to like freak out a little bit. And so the heist goes off with without a hitch. Like, it goes really, really well. I could design I don't have enough time right now to design an entire heist.
A heist happens. Do you
know what I'm saying?
Like, design it at home, everybody.
A
fun heist
the
happens.
fun is watching Luis in full AIM getup. But we kind of see like the cult of it like fall apart when like George is like trying to get into this lab.
Mm-hmm.
They steal the lab back. They set everything up. All of the Janet stuff happens, like his connection to Janet. And as soon as they like get the coordinates right, AIM shows up.
Of course.
And it was like the solution to not getting into the lab was just, he was like, I let you steal this. Because we stole it, but we didn't have the ability to get back in, so we let you steal it back.
Because they're smart.
And they're like, hey, we only have 2 hours to get into this quantum realm.
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine there's like some kind of fight with the Adaptoid outside.
Sure,
like, it's kind of fun. They're like, you know, watching the Wasp just like dust a bunch of AIM agents. It's just fun.
She would be very good at it.
That's just great.
They're
and
squishy.
you know, Scott's there too.
He's helping. He's plucky. He's got ants.
Yeah, and they're like, hey, like, Hank is just like up front with them. It's just like, here's what we're doing. He's like, I'm just trying to get my wife back. Can you just like whatever you need to do with this machine, like, you can do. I just need to get my wife back. And he's like, oh, you know, yeah, we're going there too. And
okay.
And he's like, what? And I don't think there's no ship in this one. Maybe it's like a big, like, it can be whatever. It's it's like a large like shuttle kind of thing.
Sure, yeah.
He's like, oh, we're going to. And they're like, and he's like, I can't let you do that. He's like, there's a lot of proprietary. He's like, no, like, we're coming. And it's like the Adaptoid's like the green outfit.
Sure.
I love it how it's the green outfit because of the Hulk. It's never like actually. It's not. They're like, oh, it's a green suit. And I'm like, no, it's just because it was Silver Age and it was the Adaptoid. I can touch you and have your powers. It's really stupid, but also it comes up so often. It's a pretty common. The Adaptoid is actually a pretty common Ant-Man bad guy when Ant-Man would team up with Fantastic Four a lot, which I didn't realize had happened. But now thinking back, the majority of my Ant-Man reading was in Fantastic Four books, which is fun because I was like, I didn't really pick up Ant-Man. Why do I know this stuff? And it's like, oh, because you were picking up Fantastic Four. But they go down to, they all go down to the quantum realm together.
Okay.
To get to find.
So Hank and the Scientist Supreme.
Yeah, Hank, George, the Adaptoid, and Scott and
Hope.
Oh,
okay.
All go into the quantum realm together to get Janet.
Okay, cool.
We find out once we get there, like as they're going down in there, that AIM had already been working on quantum technology, and they basically, like, the Adaptoid that they've created was like the first, but the entire facility that was working, like, the Adaptoid is like quantum technology technically, like it's to be able to change your DNA like that, like it's a quantum system. But through experimenting on the Adaptoid, the entire facility that was working on the Adaptoid program got shrunk down into the quantum realm.
Okay.
And so he was like, I need your technology to get my technology back.
Okay.
So they're all shrinking down and going down together. They find Janet, and then Janet's like, hey, it's gotten real weird here pretty recently. And then they like all turn around, and there's just like huge AIM facility just sitting there.
Okay.
And
that's nuts.
And they're like, cool, like we can get, and he's like, no, I need your guys' help to like help me get out of here. And they're like, we're not gonna like help you do, like, we know this whole like finding an energy source is all bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, you're just like trying to rebrand this thing so you can like kind of take over the world again. Like, we're not gonna let you bring this facility back out with you. And he's like, oh no, you're going to, and kind of, takes Hank and Janet hostage, and he's like, here's what we need to add. Like, let's figure out how to get this out of the quantum realm.
Sure.
So they're all figuring everything out, and eventually, long story short, there's like, basically Scott, Hank, and Hope find a double cross.
Of course.
And there's a big fight with the regular Adaptoid and then the other Adaptoids who have adapted to other power sets. Like, we get a Hulk Adaptoid, we get a Thor Adaptoid, and they're like, don't let them touch you. Like, they can do, like, they kind of have their own whatever they've adapted to. We get a little Spider-Man action. We get all the Adaptoids.
Sure.
They're like, we don't need the Avengers anymore if we can just replace them. Like, and it's too much power there.
Yeah.
And so there's a double cross. They're fighting all this stuff, and basically, our gang makes its way out, and as George is working on the computer to try to get his facility out, basically, like, he gets infected with whatever the quantum situation is, like, as he's working on his huge system.
Sure.
And starts to like fuse with like the supercomputer that is on this facility. But as we're seeing that happen, that is basically like, we're gonna have to send them further into the quantum realm. While we can slingshot our way out. If we can get back to the shuttle, it will slingshot us out. And so basically they like double cross, send the AIM facility
further,
with their CEO and all the people working there further into the quantum realm, and they get slingshot out. But like, as we're seeing it go further in the quantum realm, we're seeing George, who eventually you might know as MODOK, start to use the like Adaptoid particles to form to his computer to kind of start that transformation into MODOK, who we will see in Quantum Mania.
Yes, we will.
And I want that to make sense. But so they go further into the quantum realm, which eventually they will probably run into Kang. And Kang and AIM are usually always pretty like...
Are they?
They run tandem.
Okay.
There's, mad scientists. So that will set up Quantum Mania.
Yeah.
And that also gives it gives us MODOK in a way that I think makes sense.
Makes sense, yeah. Then Yellow Jacket shrinking into subatomic.
But they get out, and the day is saved. They get Scott back to where he needs to go. He gets released. And we got to keep the mid-credit sequence.
Yeah, we have to. Yeah.
Post-credit sequence. My post-credit sequence.
Yes.
Is is the FBI interviewing Luis about how everything went down.
Okay.
And it's the longest post-credit sequence ever.
Okay.
And it's just Luis describing the entire movie in the way that he does. And he's like, "This isn't on the record, right?" And they're like, "I guess not, man."
Are you high?
Are you high? They don't believe him. But it's him just doing the whole movie.
And we see all the actors do little things from the whole... Yeah.
No, but I think... But also, it's also the whole movie from his perspective.
Oh, really?
So, like, the first act is him not being involved because he gets called up for the second act of the movie. And he's like, "Yeah, man, like, I was just hanging with my friend Paul. My friend Paul's like really into Legos, so we're like building all these Legos." It's like a 10-minute post-credit sequence of just letting Michael Pena just run.
Well, you know what? That would be fantastic because I believe, and Brian, you can back me up, that the order of movies went Infinity War, Captain Marvel, Ant-Man, Endgame. So if we just saw everyone get dusted while Scott was in the quantum verse, then having a 10-minute-ish scene of Luis reenacting the entire movie the way he does would be we know everything is super sad. We're not sorry we did it, but we know you guys are sad. Here's a little gift before you have to wait another 6 months until Endgame.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Yeah.
Okay, Adam, so the official release order was Infinity War, Ant-Man and the Wasp, then Captain Marvel, then Endgame. Back to you, gentlemen.
And I think that it accomplishes all the stuff of the same movie, but it like makes the people trying to get his lab like more Marvel cognizant, but also like more continuity cognizant.
Yes.
Because like I checked in the continuity, there's 5 years between Iron Man 3 and the events of this movie.
Okay.
And I think that's like 5 years enough for like a rebrand.
Oh, in the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. A lot happened in 5 years. People are like, AIM? When were they around?
Yeah.
I honestly don't
It's
remember.
like a modification.
There's been so much.
It's like I think
Was that before Ultron?
The way to explain it is that like the adaptoid program is like it's a combination of it's like a combination of like all of the Marvel science we've had up to this point.
Sure.
Because AIM, and I like the idea of him explaining like, oh, well, it's like, it's partially Omega, it's partially like whatever we got left of the super soldier serum, it's partly Extremis, it's partially like, it's all of these things. He's like, if I could get parts of the Bifrost in there, I'd try, but that's not going to happen. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I like the idea of it being, it can
an amalgam of all the things we've seen before.
Because the adaptoid is an amalgamation of all the things. And if done properly, it's a stupid name, but it's actually a pretty scary bad guy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, is it better or worse than DC's version of that, which is a Mazo?
Oh, yeah. Or can't Parasite do that too, technically?
Yes, but I believe he can only copy one power at a time.
I see.
It's just more of a, I have your power now for
Yeah.
X amount of time before I lose it and I gotta drink again.
You know, I was not happy with my fix, but as I said it out loud, I'm much happier with it.
Yeah, dude, that's great.
Yeah.
The fight takes place in the quantum realm? That's amazing.
Because the quantum realm rules, dude. It's so cool. Like, I shouldn't have to wait 3 movies, you know, to get like a full-on quantum realm situation.
You shouldn't. But I'm assuming that it's going to be like Janet says something in the prologue of like, you guys were wondering where I got that little poncho from. Well, like, yeah, no, there's a whole entire civilization down there. That's the reason why I was able to live for 30 years.
Yeah.
Because, like,
you'd
be surprised. Yeah, there's a lot of people down there. But you don't want to go back there because yikes on bikes.
Yikes.
There's a guy down there that's
on bikes.
Kind of a dick.
Yeah.
I assume that's what's going to happen before.
We'll see.
We'll see.
I'm excited, man.
A couple days.
I'm really excited. Oh, yeah, so next Thursday. So it's less than a week away.
Well, for us sitting here now, yes. But when you guys are hearing this, it's like 2 days away.
Hell yeah. Oh, man. Can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Whew. Good fixes.
Good fixes.
Good fixes.
Good fix.
Good
Good
fix.
Good fix.
Woo.
Good fix. Good job, us. Good job, us.
Well, thank you guys so much for listening. We really appreciate it. Or viewing if you're listening to or viewing us on YouTube. Ooh, words are hard.
Jay, we've been talking for almost 90 minutes. We're at 90 minutes again.
We really appreciate you guys for listening. We really, really do.
Yeah.
If you're catching this on any of the podcatchers, if you wouldn't mind, just for a quick second, take a moment, throw us a review. Even if it's just a 5-star, you don't have to write a paragraph. But also, if you'd like to write a paragraph,
We're not gonna
that's
stop.
also
Yeah.
yeah. I'm gonna be honest with you. I try to read as many of the YouTube comments as I can.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest with you. I read every single podcast review.
Do you?
And they mean more to me than any comment on YouTube.
I
So
did
I
not
really
know-
appreciate it.
Where do you read those? I don't know where you read them.
Oh well, I mean I am on all the on Apple Podcasts.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
I could just go to the app and read them, couldn't I?
Yeah. Oh, I do it all the time because
Huh.
it really means a lot to me.
I'm not a podcast boy, so yeah, I don't.
Yeah. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, do that YouTube that you do so well.
I read the YouTube comments.
Yeah, I mean, I read them too.
And they mean more to me than the podcast thing. So
Yep.
there we go. Team YouTube.
The line has been drawn.
Yes,
everyone.
it has.
All right. Well, we love you to peaches. We will see you guys next week for TBD.
Oh, that's right. We don't currently know what we're
We
doing
don't
next.
currently know what we're doing, but we're gonna figure it out, and you'll know very soon. Honestly, if for this very purpose, maybe take a second to follow us on Twitter at pviewed, PVIEWD. That way you can get the alert as soon as we figure it out, because we both just remembered we don't know what we're doing next week.
I'm internally screaming right now, Jay.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. And as we end every one of these episodes, heartbreak feels good in a place like this.
It's the slow, quantumly vibrating, shifting hand that goes through your chest and then explodes your heart that you don't see coming. She killed that guy, by the way.
I know.
She did. Yeah, Ghost killed somebody in that movie.
I didn't need to be reminded of that.
She killed that guy. She killed that guy.
Bye, everybody.